A few days ago, I was browsing the New World subreddit. New World has made some...
big mistake. I don't know what's going on with those guys, man.
New World has made some changes to how PvP scaling works thanks to player feedback from the alpha, and one post really stuck out to me, discussing how open world or unrestricted PvP in MMOs works so differently to PvP in any other medium. So let's discuss the balancing issues around PvP within the MMORPG genre, how it faces different challenges, and how to regulate it according to other PvP games. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Strife Hayes. Regular viewers will know that I'm a fan of PvE over PvP. I like playing...
Yeah, I am too. And I think that, the New World subreddit, you know what it seems like to me? It seems like a lot of the people from the classic WoW subreddit, after, I don't know, after the hype wore off, they moved over to New World. Like, a lot of those guys, they just moved over to the other one.
Versus
a lot of the same vibes.
Taking on bosses, dungeons, puzzles, challenges. I've spoken before about the effects that hardcore full loot PvP will have on the longevity of an MMORPG game.
We saw that
one. In this video, I'd like to discuss something a bit different. The difficulties in translating a progression-based power gaining level system as seen in the traditional MMORPG design, and how you can translate that, or the difficulties in translating that, over to a fair and balanced PvP system.
Yeah.
Before we begin, consider dropping a like on the video.
Mortal
or subscribing
Online
to the channel
2.
for more analysis
Oh boy.
stuff. Ring the bell for all the future notifications. As usual, a massive thank you to the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. More on this at the end. For now, let's begin. The MMORPG is a progression-based gaming genre. You start from a low level, you play, and you progress, becoming a high level. The progression is tracked in various ways. More health, more mana, more damage, more skills and abilities, more areas of the map open to you, more dungeons, more items and equipment, and all of these equal
Damn, this guy's
more
really good.
Power. Generally speaking, the longer you play an MMORPG, the more powerful you become. But it's how the power is earned and then kept that causes issues with balancing in PvP.
Well, there's always gonna be the with PvP games, the problem with games in PvP and MMOs is it has two conflicting ideologies. Like MMO PvP, in a way, it's like an oxymoron, because MMOs are built around gradual character progression that builds up over time, and PvP is built up, or it's a contradiction. Yeah, exactly. PvP is about, a test of skill, and it's about, challenging another person. So this is what the problem is that you have two conflicting ideas that are diametrically opposed that you're trying to kind of bring together. And that's why every MMO has different systems for it, whether it's PvP scaling, low level players not being flagged, or anything else.
I speak to PvP MMO players, and I always say to them, so you mean the longer you play, the more powerful you get?
Yeah.
They tend to say, yes, that's how it works. But then I say, hang on, why don't you get more skillful if you play for longer? Not just power, not just raw numbers or raw stats. What about learning how to play your class? Learning how to use your abilities and how to use your moves? Could time spent in the game not just reward you with skill instead of raw power? And that's one of the big issues. MMORPGs focus on power being much more important than skill. As you level,
I think a great example of a game that had a really, really high skill cap was Mists of Pandaria. Because the difference between, and Cataclysm 2 as well, but I think especially Mists of Pandaria, is that there were so many things that you could do, and so many different levels of gameplay that you had to understand whenever you were a high level player, that in order to obtain those things, let's say a 2700 player was just simply more powerful than a 2200 player by the nature of their understanding of the game.
Up and gain items and weapons, your stats will increase. Your base health or the standard damage you do will increase along with it. These are straight up numerical values increasing. Even if your skill level doesn't change, your power will do, because the numbers behind the scenes are just higher, and they will remain higher. When a level 100 player and a level 1 player meet and battle, the level 100 will likely win, because they will have access to higher weapons and better armor and have way higher numbers. And you might be nodding along and agreeing with this situation. Which is weird, because the MMORPG is one of the only genres of gaming that allows a player to increase in power and then battle against a player of vastly inferior power level due to less time played and...
That's why people like it, because they're bad. And it's not even because they're bad. It's because they don't want to have to try. They want to become so powerful that they can just bitch slap somebody and the character is just like deleted from existence because of how good their gear is. That's why. That's why people play the games. It's that they want to have that power difference. They want to earn that power difference and then lord it over people.
Consider it completely fair.
That's what it is.
Let's refer back to the original New World post, the one I saw on Reddit, and then let's look at other player versus player examples, both in games and in real-world sports, because fans of competition in general are looking at MMORPG competition, especially player versus player, and wondering what the hell is wrong with us and why we are balancing our games in this archaic, absurd way. Consider the following situations.
Okay.
I'm a chess player. I've played chess for several years, so if someone who's playing chess for a month wants a game with me, I'll happily play against them. But they're not allowed to use the queen, the bishops, or the castles, and all of my pawns are also queens. You might think this sounds unfair, but remember, I've been playing longer. That
was a good shot. That was a great fucking shot.
Yes, I'm going to destroy this person because my pieces are vastly superior, but if they want to be good at the game, they should just play as long as me and earn the power. I deserve this. I've trained in kickboxing for several years, but I've also trained in the use of some classical weapons. So if someone wants to kickbox against me, that's fine, but I get to use a sword, because I've been doing it longer. And if they complain, well, they shouldn't fight me. I'm not going to give up the advantage I've earned in the sake of your balance. Why would I even bother gaining an advantage if I can't use it against everyone? It's totally fair, because you could train in the sword as well and bring it. You've just chosen not to. If you want to play a game of Warhammer 40,000 against me, that's absolutely fine. We just both bring every single model we own. Doesn't matter if it's not balanced.
Okay, that is actually something that we used to do. We used to actually do that because everybody would bring their fucking army and like you could have different points in Warhammer where like you could upgrade and like use certain upgrades or what. Yeah, and like Alec had like 2 full armies and like Eric had like 1 Imperial thing that he bought for like $25 at Dragon's Lair, which is like a fucking it's a comic store here. And that was about it. So yeah, I totally fucking understand this. I understand this too well.
We've bought them, we've painted them, we own them. Surely we should be allowed to use them.
Yeah.
Those situations are, of course, exaggerations. They're hyperbole, but the idea at the core of them remains the same. In any player versus player situation, balancing is key. Making sure there is fair chance for victory on any side of a conflict is part of the crux of drama. Drama is conflict, and PvP players want drama. Drama is what drives almost anything forward, the desire to play more. And if the conflict is unfairly skewed with one side or another having an advantage, the drama is lessened once the victory is almost written before the match even starts.
Yeah.
The more traditional hardcore MMORPGs are about gathering and consolidating power, so when you go and fight someone, you can use all of this you've gathered regardless of the balance of that situation.
It's not regardless of the balance, it's because of the balance of the situation. You want to have that unfair advantage. People pursue the unfair advantage. Whenever you got Shadowmourne back in Wrath of the Lich King, whenever you got a brand new weapon in WoW, like 10 years ago, what did you do? Did you go to Heroic or did you go to Warsong Gulch? Come on.
Fairness in conflict should mean that victory is not decided by an imbalance of power, but instead the correct use of skillful tactics with a balance of power between all combatants. Basically, you should start with roughly what your opponent has as well, and victory should be decided based on who uses the resources they have the best. Using pure power to decide the victor, or to make the victor incredibly obvious before competition even starts, is antithetical to the spirit of competition. Almost every game that focuses exclusively on PvP content also has checks and balances to keep the battles balanced. Magic the Gathering.
I think like this is the thing. Like my perspective on this is always that there should be like a window in which like 2 players that have, you know, like that are not necessarily exactly equal are brought closer together, but at the same time they're not the exact same. So like if a level 5 engages a level 60, I think the level 5 should be at a massive disadvantage and it should be a one-sided fight, absolutely. And I think that if a level 60 with really good gear engages level 60 with really bad gear, the level 60 with really good gear will win 9 out of 10 times. But there is that chance that the bad player can win. Why? because they earned that skill and they earned that level. And I think that's the way that MMOs should play. Gear shouldn't matter. I don't think so. I think that gear should matter. Gear should matter to an extent. Yeah, I think that if you want to have a game where gear doesn't matter at all, there are a lot of games that are balanced much better than Elder Scrolls Online, much better than World of Warcraft, that are PvP-based games and are built around PvP. I think that as long as you do MMO PvP, you are always going to have a dysfunctional and laggy and shitty system at its very core because it is fundamentally not built for PvP.
Has various formats to limit
play
the
a
power
fighting
level
game.
of available cards.
Play Smash.
League of Legends has the brackets. Boxing has
CS:GO.
weight classes. Other PvP sports understand
Valorant.
that balance matters. So when an MMORPG player says
Smite.
PvP should be free for all and everything should be allowed, they often don't realize how crazy they sound to everyone else who engages in other balanced forms of competition. And this is often why non-PvP players don't want to get involved. They see the balance is against them. So how do we fix this? How do we get non-PvP players interested in PvP? It's actually quite simple. You just make it skill-based instead of power-based. Focus on the spirit of competition and not the generation and consolidation of power over other players. Some people say, oh, you should only PvP at max level with max equipment. And okay, but do you know what you're doing when you say that we should PvP at a specific level with specific items? You're actually trying to balance the fight. If you're arguing, it will be...
In my opinion, that's a very good insight. I never thought of that. That's a really, really good insight. But by saying that you should only PvP at max level with max gear, that does mean that you're effectively advocating for balance. That's really, really good insight. On top of that, though, I think also giving good rewards. If you want people to do PvP, give good rewards. And also back in Burning Crusade, for example, a really good player with bad gear can beat a really bad player with good gear. For example, if I was in full Sunwell gear and Vinruki was in full Season 1 gear, Vinruki would win. So there needs to be I think that's the perfect level where there is some degree of balance and there's some degree of bringing people together, but the better geared and the better skilled players do have the advantage, just not that much.
More fun if it was balanced, then yes, I agree with you. So why does making it more fun require such a huge time investment from the lower level players? Why is balanced fun something players have to slog through the unbalanced curb stomp part to experience? If a max power player attacks a mid power player, they're likely going to win. And if the response is, well, the mid-level player should just get stronger, you're advocating for balance and fairness. But you're demanding it be achieved by the lower-level player working harder and dedicating time simply because the higher-level player already has. The changes New World made it so higher-level players have more of an advantage over low-level players in PvP. Now, previously, PvP scaling made it so a level 40 player fighting a level 20 player was actually relatively balanced, and this was annoying higher-level players. Because lower-level players were sometimes winning due to skill, and higher level players felt they should have an advantage in fights due to playing more. Higher level
100%. That's the way MMOs are, right? I mean, I think that's a fundamental for MMOs, and this is what I was saying before about having those conflicting ideologies, where MMOs are about building up the power of your character, and PvP is about skill. So how can you have both in the same game?
Players felt they were owed the advantage they had earned, and this advantage should be enough to make the skill of the other players less relevant. The changes to open world PvP have actually promoted a large amount of players to say they will now simply turn PvP mode off until they reach max level, because within the spirit of balance and fair competition, there's no point PvPing at anything other than max. There's no incentive to PvP if you are unbalancing the experience. People think that I don't like PvP in MMORPGs.
I think that the reality is that the experiences that people have in PvP is oftentimes imbalanced right in the first swing. Because the people that usually take the first swing are in a position of advantage. Which means, let's say you see somebody just got finished killing an elite, then you attack them, that person's at an advantage, etc. I think that happens a lot. What I think they should do with New World, and this is pretty much what they did, is they should have brackets of PvP. So level 1s and level 20s are all in pretty much the same bracket. But if you're level 50 and you fight against level 20, you're going to probably win because you're more powerful. And at like level 40 to 50 or whatever, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, yeah, different ranks or different general areas. I think that's what's fair. If you want balanced PvP, just play fucking Street Fighter or some dumb shit. Thanks for the resub, McConnell. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I don't like PvP or I dislike competition. The exact opposite is true. I am extremely competitive. I adore player versus player challenges in games that have been designed around it.
Exactly.
I love the cut and thrust of a balanced debate. I love the battle when it starts fairly on both sides. Some of my favourite games ever are player versus player experiences. Unreal Tournament, Command and Conquer, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer 40k, Burnout 3, chess. I love competition, and I love one player taking on another player at a game that all the players love, and I love it most when it's balanced and fair. The problem with PvP in MMORPGs is because of the progressive and consolidating nature of gaining power in an MMO. The progression is forced from the RPG into the PvP, and it unbalances the whole experience, and unbalanced fights aren't something I enjoy. If you are a PvP player and you are happy that you can gain power and then fight those weaker than you and battle with the fight unbalanced in your favour, you don't actually enjoy PvP. You enjoy victory, and you like it when the victory is all but guaranteed. If you're looking at your game...
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is exactly what I want. I want to gear up. I want to spend all fucking day getting my character geared up, and then I want to go and I want to fucking delete somebody because they didn't play the game all day. And MMOs are the way that you can do that. And if I don't want to do that, I go play Valorant and I get shot at spawn, right? And that's what happens. Yes, I enjoy crushing insects. Yes, that is the reason why I like MMO PvP. And also, like, I don't really even like it, though. That's the reason why I play it. But you guys know, like, I'm not a big PvP guy either. Like, I don't want to fuck around with that. It's funny to do. Here's the thing, is that it's fun to do for, like, a few days. And then it just gets boring. Because you're just stomping on people every time. Like, I remember I actually wanted to quit the game at the end of, it was like the end of, like, Legion or the end of BFA. I forgot which one. Yeah, I think it was the end of Legion, because they had, I think it might have been the end of WoD. Doesn't matter. I wanted to quit the game because I was playing on my Warlock in PvP, and they had scaled everybody up to where everybody had the exact same level. In every single game in PvP, I would kill everybody, and I would never die. Because Warlocks were fucking overpowered. Like, I would go like 23-0, or like 15-0 every fucking game. Because it's not because I'm good. Like, I'm not good. Like, no, I'm a Warlock. That's about it. Sounds like WoD. That was Legion. Yeah, it was probably Legion. Either way, like, yeah, it just gets fucking boring after a while.
Power and thinking, I earned this, so I should be able to use it unchecked and unbalanced.
I like winning.
You're saying you don't want fair, skillful, tactical fights.
No.
You want to bully people.
Yes.
A PvP player who is happy they can use a huge power imbalance in their favour is a bully. Pure and simple. If you think, like me, that both chess players should have access to the same pieces no matter who's played longer, and the
give me 3 queens whenever I play
instead of unfair armies.
I play chess.
If you believe
Sounds
in
great.
power level brackets to balance the strength of players within competition games, if you believe a fight should start without the results being obvious already, then you are a fan of fair competition. I am right there with you. Skill over power. And until the MMORPG PvP crowd can understand that, the genre will forever be in the shadow of other, more balanced forms of PvP. Thank you for watching. Another massive thank you to the supporters on Patreon and Twitch for keeping the channel alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description for links.
I think this is a really good video, and it's a really good conversation too, because like it brings up the, as I said, the contradiction. Because if you make it to where like everybody's balanced 100%, like in New World, then you'd have people getting pissed off because they're getting killed by low-level players who are much more skilled and they understand the game better, and that would make them feel bad because they worked really hard to get the advantages that they have. Then if you have people that are really bad and, you know, like they have these, or they're not really bad, they're really good, they don't have that much time to play, and then they get killed by people who have better gear, then that's going to make them mad. So it's like you can't win. That's the way I feel about it. Because if you bring on, like, you're basically like, are you going to make this 50% of the game players mad or this 50% mad? People hated PvP scaling in Legion, and they didn't like it in BFA either. Like, so it's like this middle ground that I think many games don't really have the opportunity to really get to. Yeah, it's not 50% though. You're right. It's not a clean 50-50. But what I think a lot of people like, remember everybody wanted PvP scaling be in WoD, and then they got it and they hated it. You see what I'm saying? Like the templates, everybody wanted this. No? Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely, dude.